Howdy friends. Sorry it's been such a long time since I've made a video. I mean, maybe it hasn't been that long, but it's been chaotic and I've been wanting to make an at present video, but I've been pretty intimidated because I haven't done it in a while and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, a lot of new decks, books, experiences, and I'm getting at this really late because my cat pooped on a wedding dress I thrifted this morning, which was very chaotic. I'm not getting married, I just like thrifted wedding dresses from the 80s. Anyway, let's talk about decks. To start with, I've got a lot new, some old that I'm working with right now. I'm not working with all the ones I'm going to show you like actively at the moment, but I've just got a bunch that I don't think I've shown that are new to me that I'd love to talk about and give like a little, I don't know, mini review of my thoughts on them. So these guys have been the main thing for me right now, and they are rather unassuming. These are the Carrot cards by K. Merriweather Baxter. So the deal with these is this is a mass market deck. It's like $10. I forget how I came across it. I think I was just on Amazon and it was recommended to me. It is very small. And I've been like hemming and hawing about the Rabbit Tarot and the Rabbit Oracle by Nikisha for forever. I'm gonna get it. It's just, you know, about having the right time, the moment to do it. And this deck, in the meantime, I thought I would pick up and think about and try out because it's kind of similar vibes. This deck is incredible. This deck is, I mentioned in my last video that during the winter, I've kind of not been doing tarot as much. Like I haven't been reading every day. I'm nowhere near every day, actually. I've been really taking it slow and easy, and this has become the only deck that I'm using right now, almost. We'll see if that's true in a little bit, but I like, this is the one right now, and it's just delightful. So let me show you the cards. It's just words. The story of the deck is that it's old rabbit wisdom, so it's kind of meant to be you put yourself, like you're taking advice from the rabbits. You're thinking about what the rabbits would tell you if they were giving you advice, basically, or this is like a deck that would be for rabbits, and it makes me wish I still had rabbits because I would totally read for them with this deck. But it's so clean and it's so comforting, and that's really just something I felt like I needed during the winter. It's just so sweet, and I find that I need something like this right now, just like something kind of nurturing and simple. I'm not really in the mood right now for like intense occult study. Sometimes I am in the mood for that, but right now I really just want to like go back to sort of primal roots to some extent, and this is the deck for that. It's just beautiful, and I use it every day, multiple times a day, because it's very approachable, right? It's very non-intimidating. So I'm just so grateful that I have it. It's so special. This is the one right now for me. And like I mentioned in my last video, I'd like to do a video at some point on how I read these kinds of decks where it's just kind of no keywords, just an object, because for me, I love reading with decks like this, the Memento Moris like this. And there is, you know, a way that I like to do it that maybe it would be fun to make a video about at some point. Anyway, it's very unintimidating though, like anyone can read with this. There's a little pamphlet that comes in the box right here, and it's literally like one word keywords for everything. There's a couple of different scenarios, but that's it. And there's a little card game. I should try this game. I haven't tried it, but this deck is just amazing. It's pure. I love the drawings. It's just exactly what I need right now. So this has really been the one for me right now. I was using it, like I was kind of pairing it with the Roots and Wings for a while, and I haven't pulled out the Roots and Wings in some time, but I find that like the simplicity of that deck really lent itself well to working with this one. So I would pull like one card from Roots and Wings and then 3 little cards from this deck, and it worked out really nicely for me. Another deck that's new in, I don't think I've talked about this yet. This is the This is the Arlecchino's Augmented Arcana. This is by the same person who made the Clown Town Tarot. If you saw some of my other videos, I've shown that one before. And I was really excited when this one came out. This is an expanded version of Clownmonger, which is the creator of Clown Town Tarot's Ateya deck. So for a while it was out as just Ateya, which means, you know, it had some of the minor arcana missing and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the complete version, so it's basically turned to sort of a Marseille. And is it still in order? It might still be in order. It's so good. It's still in order, but I'm using it for the Marseille study that I'm planning on doing this year. So me and a bunch of other people are planning on doing Marseille study, and it's really good for that. I'm now taking it out of order, killing me. Yeah, it's too late. It's ruined, but I really love this. I just watched the Poirot episode from like season 2 that's themed around like Harlequins and Pierrots, and this is just really doing it for me right now as a result. So I'm really excited. Obviously, I'm not using this like for my tarot study because, you know, it's not really a traditional Marseille, but for reading with Marseille, I think this is a really approachable and friendly and fun, kind of less sterile, you know, Marseille deck, and I really love it. And I just love Clownmonger's art. It's so whimsical and delightful, and I just love it. So that is the Arlecchino's Augmented Arcana. I got this in a few months ago. I think I just forgot to talk about it, but I really love it. I still haven't picked up the Anecdotes Pocket Edition Tarot by the same artist, and I really need to because I'm obsessed. But you know how it is. Holiday times, my spending money is going in other places than just buying cards for myself. Anyway, the next deck that I also have had for some time, but I don't think I talked about yet. Maybe I talked about it. Crimson Asteria Tarot. I've used it a little bit and I really like it, actually. It's a little bit kind of intimidating, I think, just because it's very, you know, it's expensive and it feels very like esoteric. It feels like, I don't know, very high art almost. I love how bizarre the art style is. This deck is gorgeous. The gold gilding, I mean, it's fine, like it doesn't bother me. I don't really, you know, it doesn't really add anything for me. But I really love these images. I love how weird they are. I feel like sometimes, like this deck, I feel like the attitude of it is that it knows everything, like it's a know-it-all. I mean, I guess every deck is technically a know-it-all, but this one kind of especially has that feeling, like it knows something that you don't, like it's in on some cosmic joke. Does that make sense? But I really love it. It's you know, it's not a harsh reader for me or anything. It's quite friendly, and I'm not normally drawn to this color, I suppose. Well, I don't think that's actually true. I think I am. I just don't think I am because I'm a green and brown person in terms of like the colors I like. But I have a lot of red, like that's like my accent color, I guess. So I think that with all that said, you know, this color makes sense for me. So yeah, this deck is another one that I've had, and I haven't been using it much. Just like I said, you know, it's feeling a little bit hefty for me to use at the moment, but I still really like it, and I can't wait. And I know it's gonna like happen where I'm gonna like have a moment with it soon once I'm getting back into tarot. You know how it is. There's ebbs and flows in those practices, basically. The next one I want to talk about is the Rune Oracle. So this I'm not using as a an oracle. I'm using it as basically altar cards. And the deal with it is, I think this was originally in French for a long time, and I think the English edition just came out, so I'm really happy about that because this book is actually, I really like it actually. Like, it's honestly kind of a brilliant primer on the runes. So for a long time, like I had a rune set for a long time that I made myself, but it was difficult for me to get into because there's like a lot of problems with rune books. Like it's just really difficult. There's a lot of, I don't know, there's always something weird about a lot of rune books. So what I really like about this is it's just like a very approachable start. So like the reason I got it, I'm getting ahead of myself. The reason I got it is because I'm using it as altar cards for my rune study. So I think in the camp that like I wouldn't really want to use these for divination as much as I would want to use them for like altar cards or like as like a focus, because I really like the tactile experience of using like physical runes. Mine are wooden and I like using those, but I'm using them for rune study as a focus card. And so every 2 weeks we're doing a different rune. So what I've been doing is when the rune comes up that we're studying, I think everything is in here right now. I haven't taken out the ones we're doing now, but I'll read first here. If I don't have any prior like experience or connection with the rune, I'll read first what it says in here. And it's a really, really good primer for the general meaning that I start to form for myself. So then what I'll do is I'll go into other rune books that, not that I don't own any other rune books, but I have a lot of PDFs. So I'll go look at all the PDFs and ebooks that I have and read more about them in those places. And then from that, I'll kind of write an entry and sort of go from there. So this deck has been amazing for that. So I really love the art. It's beautiful. This artist is making a lot of cool things. I also have another oracle by her, and she's just brilliant. So I'm really happy to have this. Okay, I'm trying really hard to not make this video like a million hours long, and I don't think it's gonna work, but the Cantiju Oracle, again, it's here, it's being used. So I did say I'm not doing a lot of divination right now, but I am still keeping up with a lot of these like kind of things that I'm doing in group settings over time, like the rune study, like the Marseille study, but you know, it's very chill, so I'm not doing a whole lot of divination alongside it. So like I said before, I'm doing the weekly thing, so this is the one for this week. I brought it off of my desk for this express purpose to show it to you. This week is primary nourishment, and I've been just keeping this up to look at, reading about it at the beginning of every week. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because you guys have seen me talk about this deck and you already know how I feel about it. Even though I haven't had it for that long, I already know it's like, it's true love, we're in it forever. So yeah, this deck has been really wonderful. I love what the book has to say, especially this week. Like, it really resonated hardcore. So really happy to have that one. Okay, here's a cute one that I picked up. Did you guys know that Gentle Thrills, the artist, also has playing cards? So I'm sure many of you guys have seen the tarot deck, which I canceled my order for, and for no other reason other than just I didn't feel like I needed it right in that moment, but I am going to get it at some point. Mark my words, because I am obsessed with Gentle Thrills. This you can get from her website. I got it when it was on sale for like $13, so it is technically indie, but it's gorgeous. Like, this deck is gorgeous. Love these backs so much. It's not a divination deck, technically. I mean, you know, any set of playing cards is a divination deck, but it's not like got divination meanings necessarily in it. It's just cute. But I'm okay with it. I've been using it a lot to play card games with my friends. I don't know if I would use it for divination. I'm just showing it because I like cards, and I have, you know, I have a decent amount of cards. I'm really just such a fan of this whimsical art style. What am I doing? Here we go. It's glorious, and I can't wait to get my hands on the tarot deck because it's just, these images make me very happy. So yeah, just a quick one. If you didn't know, there are playing cards by Gentle Thrills, and they're really beautiful, so I highly recommend them. I love that this box has like, it's like in the style of like a composition notebook, like this pattern. I love her. She's like a design genius. Okay, here's a weird thing I got. Look at this box. Okay, for Christmas, I met up with a friend, me and my boyfriend's friend, and he gave me this for Christmas. And I was like, how did you even get this Thoth deck? Like, what is this? I was excited because I don't have this size. I only have the large size Thoth deck that I got basically because you know, the images are large and for study, but this is a much more practical size. Oh my god, it smells so weird. It smells like the outdoors. So the way that my friend got this is he he was like at a flea market, and there was just like a man on the corner of the flea market with like a blanket like laid out, peddling just like totally random wares. It was like a character in a video game just like peddling some mysterious cursed objects. So he saw this deck and he knows me, so he picked it up for $1 for me. It's I love cards that have stories like that. So I mean, you know, it's the Thoth. I put it in order because I felt like I needed to, like, you know, it's like coming from this random blanket full of just like totally random disjointed objects, so I felt like it needed to be, and it's clearly been used a lot by whoever had it before, so it clearly needed to, you know, kind of be reset, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's got all the cards except for the Magician. So I'm just using this kind of card that's included as the Magician, and it's gonna work fine for me, I think. So I just am really this is great. Like, I love when decks kind of fall into my hands randomly like this. Like, this is just so great. Now it has just this weird story behind it. So yeah, this was a cool acquisition. This is another one that I got recently. I just recently kind of went through a thing where I was like, I need to pick up like some cute, like small little mass market decks. This is one of them. This is Terror the Complete Kit. I forget where I first saw this. It is out of print, I think, but you can, I got mine for like $10 used. You can still find it really easily all over the place pretty much. This used to, I think, be sold at like Barnes & Noble, like at the checkout. Like, it's like a very, you know, like this is the kind of thing that maybe if I saw it in a store I would kind of scoff at it, but this art, you guys, oh my god, I'm obsessed. This art really reminds me of Polish folk art, like, you know, these backs especially, like kind of floral designs, they really remind me of that, so of course I'm a sucker for them. And this is a deck I've been using a decent amount. It's another one, like this is like the tarot deck I've been using. Like the tarot cards have been, you know, what I'm using all the time, every day. But when I did use tarot, which is, you know, again, not very often, I'm using this deck because again, it's very non-intimidating. It's so cute. I'm really glad I have it because I think I needed something like this that was less complicated, but I still wanted like there to be whimsy. Like I didn't want it to be like a clean minimalist thing necessarily, and this does it for me. Like it's like folksy minimalism, you know? So I really like it. It's just so good. I don't know what to say about it other than that, but I really recommend it if this kind of thing works for you. Oh, why is this backwards? I don't know what's happening. Anyway, you get the idea. This is a beautiful deck, and I'm so excited about it. I want them to bring it back into print because I feel like, I think it was in print for a really long time. Like, I know some people have, like, this was, like, the deck they learned on when they, in, like, 2003, when they, like, first pick up cards, so it should come back because I think it's beautiful. Maybe it should, like, come up as, like, an actual deck that's, like, its own thing instead of being advertised as, like, I don't know, this seems like a weird way to advertise it because maybe people would expect it to look like the Rider-Waite-Smith, you know? Anyway, I really love it. I'm really excited about it. So this has been a lovely little gem. I'm really into these kinds of like friendly, cozy decks right now, if you can't tell. All right, another deck I got recently is the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. Finally, I can't believe I waited so long to get it. I'm really happy to have it now. This is also a deck I've used a little bit, but not as much as the others because, and I'm talking about like, you know, over the last like 2 months because I haven't updated in a while, because it is a little more on the esoteric side. It's, you don't need, obviously you don't need to know anything, and I do think it's like a very friendly esotericism. Oh yeah, I put it back in order too. Everything's in order, isn't that nice? My friends who saw this really loved it. It kind of reminds me of like an 80s arcade carpet, like the carpet at arcades, especially like this specifically. You know what I'm talking about? Like the arcade carpets. So it also kind of has a really approachable, in its own weird, bizarre way, kind of feeling to it. So I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to use it more, but it will have to wait because I'm doing other things right now. I've also been using the Majestic Earth Tarot pretty regularly, semi-regularly, at least earlier, you know, 2 months ago, before, you know, I just kind of chilled out for a while, but I won't talk about it, I won't show it because it's out of print and I don't want to make you sad. But other than that, these are the most recent decks I got. Finally, I am so glad I finally got these because I have an almost complete Mary Elizabeth Evans Spirit Speak collection. Although my goal isn't to complete it or anything, because now I feel like I have all the ones I love from Mary Elizabeth Evans. So this is the Apparition deck and the Vessel Oracle. I feel like everyone's seen these, but I'll show them real quick. I feel like I'm so late to the party with Apparition. It was like one of the first indie decks I ever saw like on Etsy, and I'm really like, it just feels like a long time coming. I think I got turned off for a long time by these backs. Like I don't like this color very much, like this teal, but I got over it. I you know, I don't hate any color, but I don't know, just like little things like that were making me be picky. But I love these images. I used these to read in like a book club leaning yesterday, and it was lovely. Oh my god, I am the worst at keeping things not upside down. Like, what is up with that? I'm sorry. I love these iconographic images. You know, it's a very modern feeling deck, but in a way that isn't kind of like that isn't kind of dated. Like, it doesn't feel like it's going to be dated, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, it feels kind of timeless, and I really like it. So I'm really happy to have this one. And the Vessel Oracle, this is the only oracle I didn't have by Spirit Speak. And for a long time, I was one of those people where I was like, it's only 35 cards, and that's not enough cards for me. But realistically, like, I'm only ever doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 card readings with this deck. Maybe you could do a grand tableau, but I feel like it wouldn't be like the best suited for that kind of thing. And I really love it, and I'm glad I finally picked it up because I just really resonate with this kind of art style. You've heard me talk about it with the Iris Oracle, but I just love it. It's like a warm hug. It's like a warm hug. I should use this with the carrot cards. I think this would be awesome with the carrot cards. Kind of definitely touching in with like some inner child stuff with the carrot cards, I think. Like to like this like reminds me of like a scrapbook I had when I was 7 or something. And I really love that. So this is just exactly what I needed right now. So I'm so happy to have it. So I'm glad that I finally decided to pick it up. 35 cards is honestly more than enough for me if the cards have depth and power to them, which these ones do. Okay, so that's all the decks I've been using, but I have a deck fail. This is the first deck fail I think I've ever like truly had, where it was like, as soon as I got it in the mail and opened it to look at it, I was like, oh no, I've made a mistake. This is not for me. And that deck is the El Goliath Tarot. I had like a very visceral negative reaction to this deck when I got it, which is strange because I was like convinced that it was like the like shadow work deck. I don't really have a lot of shadow work decks. I think I've said that. I think I even mentioned in one of my earlier videos that I was gonna get this because it seemed like a good like dark deck to work with, but also this box is like so bizarre. There's no thumb holes, and it's like you have to do this. Isn't it even gonna be able to come open? I haven't opened it in a long time. Do you see? Okay, there we go. That's a struggle. You know, it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. The artist is very talented. These backs are beautiful. But I just don't, this imagery just doesn't work for me. I looked through it once and I knew it didn't work for me. I don't really like the jewelry and the clothing being put on like animals. It doesn't look right to me. It doesn't look natural to me. Like, I don't know. It kind of looks like, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. And I don't think that it's all just like concrete reasons. I think like cards like this, like I really like, but there's too many cards where there's like too much embellishment on the animals, and it kind of bothers me, and it's like a very personal preference thing. But it was just very interesting because when I saw it online, I was kind of convinced that like I would love it and that it would be amazing. And I'm looking through and I'm like, well, maybe I should give it a chance, but like this card, I don't like it. But this card I do. Like, some of them I think are really incredible, but I think there's too many that just make me uncomfortable, and for some reason, and sometimes that's just what happens. I think it's, you know, it's intense, but maybe trying a little bit too hard to be intense for me personally. So yeah, that was a fail, and I'm shocked because, you know, I don't know. I just kind of convinced myself. Sometimes that doesn't happen very often. Usually I feel like I'm quite careful to be sure that it'll be something I like. That doesn't necessarily mean like watching complete walkthroughs, by the way. Like often I'll buy a deck without seeing all the cards. But I knew like what the cards looked like when I was buying this, so it just was very interesting that I had such a negative reaction upon opening it. I'm not really sure why, but you know, it's not for me, and that's okay. Not every deck is going to be for everyone. Anyway, that was my little deck fail I wanted to mention. It's a little bit dramatic, but yeah, I'm gonna be, you know, trading this away or getting rid of it or doing something. I haven't really, you know, found like the perfect opportunity to get rid of it yet, but we're working on it. So, and you know, I've got a lot of decks. There's no reason for me to keep ones that make me feel weird like this. So yeah. Okay, really quick, because this video is already kind of long, I'm gonna just kind of really quick run through some new decks, or not decks, books that I've gotten or that I'm currently reading, and just talk about like really briefly what it is. Some of them I haven't started, I've just gotten them in, but I thought you might like to see them. So the fiction book that I'm reading is Redwall. Do you guys remember Redwall? It's good. I got this used forever ago, like 2 years ago, because I'm like a very nostalgic person, if you haven't noticed, and I really like felt this book series was kind of childhood defining, so I felt the need to pick it up again, and oh my god, I love it so much. I didn't read it for like the 2 years that I had it because I was scared it was gonna be bad and it was gonna ruin my memories of it. It didn't. It's delightful. It's like the perfect winter you know, cozy, like hot cocoa read. It's just incredible. The food descriptions in this book are really good. Like the things all the little mice eat are really good. And I'm excited because there's like 15 other books in the series. I have Mossflower, which is the prequel as well, so I'm gonna read it after this. And it's like super not challenging, obviously, because I first read it when I was in like 4th grade and loved it, but it holds up, and it's just like really comforting, like watching a comforting show but in a book, you know. This book reads a lot like a TV show, like a children's TV show kind of, but a good one with depth, and it really stimulates your imagination in a good way. I said I wasn't gonna ramble, and I still did, but I have to about this one because I'm excited. Okay, anyway, another book, I'll put these two together because I got 2 new tarot books. So I got Dictionary of the Tarot by Bill Butler. Oh gosh, it must have been ages ago that I think I saw, who recommended this? Was it Lisa Pepez? It might have been Lisa Pepez, or Modern Metaphysicae? I forget. But this book is going to be such a great reference manual because the way it's structured is it gives you like 30 different interpretations for each card in the deck by different, you know, tarot scholars, as it were. So you've got Case Crowley, Waite, and a bunch of others talking about the different, you know, definitions. And I feel like this is such an indispensable reference because it gives you like everyone right here all at once, so you don't have to go digging through like, you know, 10 books to get the sort of traditional, classically defined definitions. So I'm really happy that I have this finally. And this is Robert M. Place's, I think this is Mass Market, his Mass Market tarot book. Tarot, History, Symbolation. I'm talking too fast. I talk kind of fast sometimes, and I apologize for that. The Tarot, History, Symbolism, and Divination. So this is just another tarot book. I don't have a lot of tarot books that go more specifically and overtly into the history of tarot, so I'm excited to have this. I would love to pick up his other book at some point, but I figured this is like the Mass Market one, and when I pick up the other one, I also want to get the Alchemical Tarot with it, so it has to be like, you know, I have to be in that moment where I want to spend that money. It will happen eventually, but for now, I'm going to read this, get excited about the other one, and, you know, discover this brilliant tarot scholar's work, so I'm very excited about that. Over here, I've got a book club book, new book club book. We finished Ancestral Medicine, and now we're doing this. This is Marion Woodman's Dancing in the Flames, and I don't know anything about it. I haven't started it, but my book club meeting's tomorrow, so I'm gonna read it. I only just got it in, so, and I had a PDF, but I wanted to read it here. But It's kind of Marion Woodman is a Jungian psychologist, so I'm excited. The tagline is "The Dark Goddess in the Transformation of Consciousness," and I've heard really, really good things about this author and about this book, so I'm very excited about it. Can't tell you much about it, but I think it's gonna be good. Other book club book that we're not doing this book anymore because it was kind of a lot, but I've decided that I do want to read through it anyway on my own. So I'm gonna do that, a little ritual tarot bookmark. So I'm gonna go through and go read through each of the Sephirot in here. That's my plan for the year, you know, little study assignments, bit by bit. We'll see when I fit that in. I'm gonna fit that in once my school semester starts. Like, it's gonna be part of like I'm gonna schedule it into my schedule as like a little thing that I'm studying for myself on the side. I love doing that, like making my own little classes that I put in and I just do myself. I love that. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna do with this. And finally, I have a poetry book that I'm reading. I love this book. It's called A Book of Luminous Things by Czesław Miłosz, who's a poet, yes. And he edited it. This is a compilation of various authors. Oh gosh, I wish I had bookmarked one of my favorite poems in here. Maybe I'll find it and I'll post it in the description because it's a poem about doing the dishes, and I feel like it very well encapsulates like kind of my life philosophy in a lot of ways. So I'll see if I can find it in here and post it like in my description. It is a very, very delightful book, and I'm really like, for most of my life I did not care about poetry, and then something just kind of clicked my brain when I read a couple of poetry books on my own that weren't for like school or as part of an assignment. Also Emily Dickinson. I did read Emily Dickinson for school and loved her so much, so that kind of was a catalyst into me giving a shit about poetry, and now it's like my favorite thing ever. I can't live without it, and I need poetry recommendations, so if you have them, please give them to me because I've got like a little baby poetry library, but I would love to expand it, and I feel like I'm missing some like essential poets and also just some like niche, like I want some like niche like hidden gem poets. If you have stuff like that, then please let me know because I would love to know. So anyway, that is the last thing I wanted to talk about. So I have kind of breezed through this video. 30 minutes-ish have passed just like that, magically. I don't know how these things happen, but I hope you enjoyed hearing me ramble about some of the stuff I've gotten in. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.